For thousands of years, we thought we understood ancient Egypt, the pharaohs, the pyramids, the gods. But what if the pharaoh wasn't actually in charge? What if behind every throne, every temple, every decision that shaped one of history's greatest civilizations, there was a hidden group of men pulling the strings, a brotherhood so powerful that even the most feared rulers in history answered to them? This is the story of the secret society that really ruled ancient Egypt, and why they don't want you to know about it. To understand who really held power in ancient Egypt, you first need to understand how Egyptian society actually worked. Most people picture the pharaoh as an all-powerful god-king, untouchable, absolute, supreme. And on the surface, that's exactly what the pharaoh wanted you to think. But beneath that carefully constructed image was a complex web of priests, scribes, and advisors who controlled the information the pharaoh received, the rituals that legitimized his rule, and the vast wealth of Egypt's temple system. At the center of this web was one group above all others, the priests of Amun. Amun was the king of the Egyptian gods, the hidden one, the invisible force behind all creation. And the priests who served him accumulated so much power, so much land, and so much gold over centuries that they eventually rivaled, and sometimes surpassed, the pharaoh himself. At their peak, the priests of Amun controlled over 30% of all land in Egypt. Think about that. Nearly a third of one of the most powerful civilizations in human history, owned by a group of priests operating in the shadows of the throne. It didn't happen overnight. The priests of Amun built their power slowly and deliberately over centuries, each generation adding more land, more wealth, more influence than the last. It started during the Middle Kingdom around 2000 BC, when Amun's cult first rose to prominence in Thebes. Local priests began accumulating donations of land and gold from worshippers seeking favor with the gods. By the New Kingdom, Egypt's Golden Age, the Temple of Karnak had become the largest religious complex in the world. Thousands of priests, servants, and workers operated under its control, and at the top sat the high priest of Amun, a position so powerful it was essentially a second pharaoh. The high priest controlled temple finances, religious ceremonies, and most critically, the Oracle of Amun. The oracle was the mechanism through which the gods supposedly communicated their will to the people. But who controlled the oracle? The priests. Which meant the priests could make the gods say whatever they wanted. One of the most remarkable examples came during the reign of Hatshepsut, one of Egypt's few female pharaohs. Historical evidence suggests the priests of Amun played a direct role in legitimizing her controversial rule. In return, she funded the construction of massive temple complexes that further enriched their already enormous holdings. It was a transaction disguised as divine will. The Confrontation. But not every pharaoh was willing to play along. In 1353 BC, a young pharaoh took the throne who would launch the most dramatic confrontation with the priesthood in Egyptian history. His name was Amenhotep IV, and he was about to declare war on the most powerful institution in Egypt. Amenhotep didn't just challenge the priests of Amun, he tried to erase them completely. He abolished the entire Egyptian pantheon, banned the worship of Amun, closed the temples, seized their land and wealth. Then he changed his own name to Akhenaten, servant of the Aten, and declared that there was only one God. He built an entirely new capital city from scratch in the desert, Amarna, to break completely from the priests and their power base in Thebes. For 17 years, Akhenaten ruled a completely transformed Egypt. The priests stripped of power, the old gods erased, a single ruler with absolute control. It was the most radical religious revolution in ancient history, and the moment he died, the priests took everything back. His successor, the young pharaoh Tutankhamun, was almost certainly guided by the priesthood from day one. He was a child when he took the throne, completely controllable. Under their influence, he reversed every single one of Akhenaten's changes, restored the old gods, returned the land, rebuilt the temples, and then systematically erased Akhenaten from history entirely. His name was chiseled off every monument, his city abandoned and buried by sand, his reign deleted from the official record of pharaohs. The priests didn't just win, they made sure nobody would ever know they had lost in the first place. Their ultimate power grab. But the most extraordinary chapter was still to come. By 1080 BC, the Egyptian Empire was weakening. Decades of costly wars, economic decline, and political instability had eroded the pharaoh's authority to almost nothing. The priests of Amun saw their moment. The high priest Herihor did something no priest had ever dared to do before. He declared himself Pharaoh. Not just high priest, not just advisor. Pharaoh, ruler of Upper Egypt, equal to the king. He had his name written in a royal cartouche, the oval symbol reserved exclusively for royalty. He wore the double crown. He performed the ceremonies of kingship. For a brief but extraordinary period, Egypt was ruled not by a warrior king or a royal dynasty, but by a priest. It was the culmination of centuries of shadow power finally stepping into the light. Egypt never fully recovered. The country split, divided between the priestly rulers of the south and the weakened pharaohs of the north. Some historians argue the priests of Amun didn't just gain power, they broke Egypt in the process of taking it. The lesson. So, what does this story really tell us? The priests of Amun weren't unique to ancient Egypt. Throughout all of human history, the real power has rarely sat on the throne. It has sat beside it, behind it, controlling the information, performing the rituals, holding the gold. The pharaoh was the face, the priests were the hands, and the most dangerous thing about their power was how invisible it was designed to be, hidden behind religion, ritual, and the supposed will of the gods. The next time you look at a powerful institution, a government, a corporation, a religion, ask yourself one question: who is really in charge? Because if ancient Egypt taught us anything, it's that the person everyone is looking at is rarely the person actually pulling the strings. 3,500 years later, and the priests of Amun are still teaching us something about power. If this made you think differently, like and subscribe for new pieces of forgotten history every week.